Now, Uber had its own response to the Sydney siege. I don't know. They're more tacky than the Australian Defence League, but I guess not as dangerous. Their thought was, because Uber runs on this thing called surge. They do surge pricing. So, as an example, if there's a storm in New York City. I don't take cars really that much, but say it starts pouring and, your bag is going to get, your computer will get ruined, whatever. And all of a sudden you need a car. They spike their prices up because they know there's higher demand. And it's okay. So fair enough. Sure. But what they did in Sydney is they took the opportunity of the Sydney siege to go into surge pricing in Sydney during the siege. That was their response, not to offer free rides to relatives who might be upset, might want to be closer to the scene, might want to not be closer to the scene, not to coordinate rides to help get deliveries to people dealing with the situation on the ground, or even just, keep their mouths shut and do normal services and focus on hacking into journalists' email accounts or whatever else it is that they do in their spare time. They went right into surge pricing. They backed down after a huge public outcry because, of course, they don't need another bad PR stain. I'm sure Ashton Kutcher will be on Twitter to defend the surge pricing as soon as he's done with Kabbalah class. But look, I mean, when you look at this company, and I think, it gets hard because in some ways, you want to make examples of specific companies. I mean, Walmart represents something about the slave wage industry. McDonald's represents something. But at the same time, it's important to look systemically and not just get into a story about, well, that particular company is really egregious and, I'll shop at Target instead, because you want to talk about structural issues, obviously. And I'm into, smacking Uber around as much as the next person, but I think the issues represented by Uber go beyond Uber and, need to be looked at more broadly. But look, man, I mean, could you imagine Uber being around during Hurricane Katrina? I mean, could you imagine? I mean, just go through time with Uber, like, during Schindler, his help rescuing Jews from the Holocaust. And they were like, oh, whoop, love your work, buddy. Surge pricing. I mean, it's just unbelievable that just kind of manic tackiness of this company. I mean, there's really not much more to add to that.
It's the sharing economy, baby. It's the future that we're building.
It's the future that we're building. The future we build where we surge price during the Sydney siege.
It's disgusting. It really is. I mean, you could complain about taxi service or whatever. I mean, if you live in Manhattan or wherever there's regular, taxis. But, a world where you are charged extra because there's an event like this and they're charging you more to get out.
I'm telling you, you could slot it at any single point in history. You could say, the Oberoi attack in Bombay, in Mumbai. That's in 2008, I think, or 2009. Oh, my God. People are getting, murdered on the street. What are we going to do? Well, it's great. We'll help get you to the airport. We'll surge price you for it. I mean, it's just... it's just unbelievable. And I think it does make, the sharing economy is not all one thing, obviously, and there's a lot to it. But I think actually the biggest danger is that it's a way of people really starting to buy their own BS, because the language of it can really obscure. I mean, because that's just as predatory as it gets. There's nothing more predatory than that.